Well, hello everybody and welcome to About Brant with Dave Carroll. My name is Dave Carroll, that's why it's in the show, and this is a show about Brant. Brantford, Brant County, Six Nations, and beyond. We want to take a look at our community, different areas of our community, and discuss how they actually work. None of us know how everything works, but these are different areas that actually affect our everyday lives. And today we're going to be looking at policing in Brantford, and we are thrilled to be able to have the Chief of Police, Jason Saunders, here chatting about policing. Great to have you here, Chief.
Thanks for the opportunity, Dave.
This is wonderful. Now, I'll say you and I have gotten to know each other a little bit over the last year because I've been it's quite a title to be a part of the Chiefs Advisory Committee where I clearly have a lot of advice to be able to give to the police chief. Tell me about this program that I was involved in. It was a really neat experience.
Yeah, so what we decided to do was we wanted more input from regular members of the community, people from all walks of life. So we randomly picked or invited 10 people from the community, yourself included, and we just asked you to come and meet with us quarterly. And
sandwiches.
We provided sandwiches.
So
the pay probably wasn't very good, but we gave you sandwiches and coffee, and then we peppered you with questions about the community and what you wanted to see in your police service. And so probably the biggest accomplishment that I want to say that group helped us with was building our budget. And we came into this advisory committee and we said, okay, here's all the money that we have. What do you want to see us invest in as we move forward in 2026? And I think by having that community feedback was very beneficial moving forward.
Now, it was a very interesting experience and an honor to be a part of it. And I've got family members in policing, and so for me, it was neat to be able to have this little snapshot of what even the decision-making process and the different weights and different elements that go along. Why is it so important to be able to have the public interact with our police forces? Because it's without it, it really creates some problems, doesn't it? Because we have to be able to interact.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, I mean, we're the community's police service, right? Brantford is on our crest. We represent this community. Most of our officers live in this community where we all have a vested interest in what happens in our community. And so by reaching out to the public and asking them, like, what do you want to see us work on? What are the challenges that you face in your day-to-day life? It allows us to set our priorities moving forward.
And it was a neat cross-section of people from all sorts of different walks of life and ages and stages of life. And you were talking about the budget. And we'll get into some of the, what it's like to be a police chief. But we're going down this road now. Yeah. So one of the things that I found the most interesting, and I know you commented as well, was that many of the people in the committee vocalized a value of mental health services for our police services.
Yeah.
And that became something that was put into the budget, and it was such a neat feeling to be able to know this was a collaborative value where both the community and the police services felt like, we recognize this as important.
Yeah, absolutely. When we presented the budget, there was three, I'd say, main pillars that your committee said you wanted us to look at. And one of those was investing in officer and not just officer, employee well-being. And so, we went back and looked at our processes, and we looked at how much money we set aside for employee wellness every year. And it was an extremely small amount. And so we increased that budget to make sure that we have a fully staffed and functioning wellness committee. And that wellness committee's purpose is to basically improve the culture and the well-being of all of our employees throughout the station. And I think it's baby steps, but I think we're going to make some great strides when it comes to the well-being of our members.
Really, really wonderful. Okay, so let's start back at the beginning.
Yeah.
You get the call. Hey, you got the job as chief. How did you, maybe just give the community a bit of background about yourself and how you came to that place where all of a sudden you became our police chief.
Yeah, so I grew up in Norfolk County, so very close. Brantford was the big city from where I grew up. But I joined the police service in 2000, and like everybody, I was on the front lines. I spent some time in our tactical unit, and I spent some time plain clothes working in drugs and guns and gangs, and worked my way through major crime. And then eventually I found myself in our training branch, which I really enjoyed. And I was promoted to sergeant, And then I became a staff sergeant, worked on a platoon. So our staff sergeants, basically, they run the shift every night. And I did that for a period of time. And then I became inspector of operations and basically in charge of anything to do with frontline patrol. And then I think it was around 2019, I was offered the job of deputy chief. I did that for 4 years. It was a real eye-opener to what goes on behind the scenes of senior management in the police service. Yep. And then, just over a year ago, I was offered the job full-time to be the chief. And so, an incredibly humbling honor to be the chief of the Brantford Police Service. We're going to celebrate our 150th anniversary next year.
Okay.
And which is a pretty amazing.
What did we do before that?
Yeah.
What happened 151 years ago?
I have no idea, but we've come a long way since then. And
we have.
We could spend a whole hour just talking about the technology that we have as police. But yeah, to be given the call that says, hey, you're going to get an opportunity to be the chief of police was just an incredibly humbling experience.
Is that something you wanted to do? Like, did you watch Batman growing up with Chief O'Hara
No.
and Commissioner Gordon? Like, did you want to be the chief, or is that just where your career sort of led you?
No, and I mean, I don't even think growing up I really wanted to be a police officer. I just really didn't know what I wanted to do. And I ended up kind of going down the road. I went to college for law and security. I'm like, this seems a little interesting. And then Brantford took a chance on me. I was young. I was 21 when they hired me to be a police officer, and I very quickly made a lot of friends in the community and a lot of friends within the service. And I just kind of enjoyed what goes on here. And then the more time you spend in this community, the more invested you become in it, and then you really want to see positive changes for everybody to come forward.
How important is knowing the community itself to be able to point in the right direction and set the right priorities? Because Brantford is, we're not a fully unique community, but we really are. We have our own little way of doing things. How important is knowing the community?
Yeah, it's probably the most important thing because the community is going to want certain things out of their police service. And every community across Canada wants similar things. They want a professional police service. They want an effective police service. Everybody's concerned about finances, as we are as well. They want a reasonable cost police service. But each community has its own unique challenges and its own unique opportunities. And that's why I think, in anybody that's involved in senior leadership within a police service, you need to really know what's going on in your community, and just as importantly, where's your community headed? And what are the things that are going to become issues in your community in the future?
So you and the other chiefs get on Zoom and you go, hey guys, let's meet together at Swiss Chalet. And you all stand there and you go, all right, Chief Saunders, 1 minute, tell me about your community. What do you say that makes Brantford unique when it comes to policing?
Well, we're a very multicultural community, right? We have a large Indigenous population, which a lot of other services that we're involved with, they don't have an Indigenous population. We have a lot of mental health challenges within our community, and we really are lucky in the sense that we have some great community partners that are out there, the Brantford General Hospital, SOAR, that really help us with those challenges. But I think what makes every police service unique, and I'm guessing if you had every police chief on Ontario come in here and ask the same question, they're going to tell you it's the people within our service that make it unique. I'm probably a very lucky police chief because I've got a fantastic leadership team within our service, and that was the best thing that happened when I became chief is they surrounded me with very, very intelligent, capable people that help guide our police service.
And that's everything.
It's everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Monday morning, you get you wake up, the rooster crows, and it's Monday morning. I'm the police chief now. How do you set your priorities for a week, and what does a week in the life of the chief of police look like?
Yeah. Well, let me rewind that a little bit, and I'll tell you, as soon as we found out that there was going to be a transition, myself, the deputy chiefs, and all of our inspectors, we spent a day just going through things we wanted to put a change on within our service. And we came up with 20 different things that we thought, this is what we want to improve. And then since that point, I've been meeting with every member of our service one-on-one because they all have great ideas. And that list of ideas of things that we want to accomplish is growing to 60 different things that we're trying to do within our service. So every Monday morning when I come in,
the list grows.
The list has grown. Now, thankfully, some of those we've been able to accomplish very quickly. Yeah. And but so every Monday when I come in, it's thinking, okay, what's on that list and where are we moving forward and what are the things that we're trying to do? So when I come in, we have a briefing. I meet with the two deputy chiefs and we go over what has happened over the last the weekend, if there's anything major that requires our attention, and then we kind of look at our schedules and what are we going to accomplish this week. And again, having a great leadership team makes it enjoyable coming into work, knowing that we're actually going to accomplish something every time we go in there as well.
Years ago, it was a cartoon, Pinky in the Brain, and Pinky in the Brain goes, what are we going to do today, Brian? Same thing we do every week, Pinky, trying to take over the world.
Yeah.
But used to laugh at this, but sometimes it made me laugh, the balance of, I imagine you walk in and there is the mix of troubleshooting and problem solving of the weekend's issues to be able to make sure that's all taken care of, and being able to have a vision for the moving forward. How do you set that meter of caring for the problems, vision moving forward? Yeah,
so again, we meet several times a week with our entire leadership team. We have 5 inspectors, 2 deputy chiefs, and several senior civilian managers within our service as well. And it's a collaborative approach, and we try to look at, okay, what are the immediate issues that are going to need our attention right now? And the work gets divided up amongst all of us, and then we meet again at the end of the week and see, okay, did we accomplish what we needed to accomplish? Because there are going to be things that require our immediate attention. An example, last night, unfortunately, we did have a homicide within our city, and because of fantastic police officers and their great work, we do have an individual in custody. But when you have something major like that happens, it tends to push some of the other things that we're working on a little bit further.
The traffic studies
exactly.
don't get dealt with that.
Yeah, exactly.
Interesting. Do you like this process?
I love it.
Do you does this get your gears going? To be able to I'm going to sit at Command Central and...
Yeah, I mean, to be able to interact with the public in situations like this. And I love going out. We have coffee with the chief where, we'll just go to a coffee shop. People can come in and just tell us what are the challenges that they're facing in their community. And then to be able to take that information and come back to our senior leadership team and say, hey, this is what I'm hearing in the community. This is a challenge. And then, we actually make meaningful progress on decisions and changes that we implement.
Fascinating stuff. This is why we got a TV show. This is really good. Thank you so much. We're going to take a quick break and take a look at some promos here for Rogers TV. And we're going to be right back on About Brant and hear more about what our chief sees as some of our priorities and some of our issues, and along with an exciting new physical development with our police station. We'll be right back on About Brant right after this.
Hi, Pastor Mark here. Join us each and every week on Sundays. All are welcome, no exceptions. That is St. Peter's Church, every Sunday at 11 a.m. God bless. We'll see you soon.
Hey everyone, it's Sean Ferfaro, and I'm thrilled to tell you that This Week in Rangers Nation is back for season number 2. I'll have everything you want with your East Ave Blue, special interviews, features, highlights, and more. Catch This Week in Rangers Nation every Friday.
After a night out with your friends, there's always options for getting home safely. You could call your BFF, your mom or dad, whoever you can count on for a safe ride home. You could call your favorite cab company or 1-888 taxi guy. Or you could use the Arrive Alive smartphone app to help you choose your ride. Be it a friend, transit, or taxi, getting home safely is app easy. Now available for iOS and Android devices. Visit arrivealive.org to find out more. Arrive Alive, drive sober.
I never thought I'd know that feeling. To be in love. Because for us, it was a crime. Someone had to respond to the tabloids. So I wrote letters, challenging every misconception of homosexuality. 9 homes, 7 dogs, 47 years together, and still not spouses under the law. So we took our fight to the Supreme Court.
Jim Egan and Jack Nesbitt await a verdict on their fight for spousal rights.
Hello. We lost our case, but we made a difference.
As a result of Jim Egan's case, the Supreme Court ruled that sexual orientation is protected under the Charter of Rights, a landmark victory for the LGBTQ2 community.
And welcome About Brant with Dave Carroll, here with Brantford Police Chief Jason Saunders. Thanks so much for being here.
My pleasure.
You're a pleasure to chat with because you can tell you have a passion for what it is that you do, and being able to tell the story. Why is it important to be able to tell these stories? Like, we're going to talk about a few things, but why is this important to you to be able to come and take the time to tell these stories?
Well, I think it's important because, you know, a lot of people in the public really have no idea what goes on within their police service, and they probably don't know some of the projects that we're working on, and I think they would probably find value in some of this sort of stuff.
I will say that after being a part of helping choose the design of the new police cars, every time I see them, I go, I designed that. And if people don't like it, they can.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can pin it on our little board. But
that design kind of surprised me, actually. I thought you guys were going to come up with something very intricate and artistic, and everyone wanted the same. They wanted a very basic, you know when you look at it that it's a police car, and that's what everybody wanted.
And it's true. Like that's in my opinion, what we're looking for, police to be able to be recognizable and authoritative, but then be able to, with who they are as people, being able to be there to diffuse even the situations.
For sure.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about the most noticeable thing that people see as they're driving down Wayne Gretzky Parkway and they look over to the left. I was just out of the country for a week, and I got back and I went, am I crazy, or does that look way different? There's a whole new big addition that's taking shape on the police station. Tell me about this.
Yeah, one of the most exciting things that we're working on, and so back, even before my time as deputy chief, with the previous chief and deputy, they were working on a new facility for our police service, because the one we're in, it was built in 1991. It's 60,000 square feet, but we're bursting at the seams, and we have people working in closets that were converted into very small offices.
Literally.
Yeah. And so we
sometimes two in a closet.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. And it's a challenge, and we're a modern police service, and we really need a modern facility to conduct the work that we're doing. We need a state-of-the-art forensics laboratory. We need a state-of-the-art emergency communications and dispatch center. Our cells needed to be upgraded. There was a lot of things that we really needed to improve on, and we also wanted to make sure it was an enjoyable place for people to come and work. A lot of people in the building now, they work in areas where there's absolutely no natural light, and working a 12-hour shift under stressful conditions, that can be a bit of a challenge for them. And so, we spent a lot of time and a lot of work with working very closely with the city. They're actually the owners of the building. We're the tenants. And we spent a lot of time designing.
Your lease is good.
Our lease is good.
We're okay. Please.
I don't think they're evicting us anytime soon. We don't seem to have loud parties. Nobody gets mad at us. But so we're adding 60,000 square feet. We're adding a 3-story tower. It is literally a state-of-the-art police facility that will rival, the ability to handle any challenge that is taken or that comes towards us. And once that building's done, which we're aiming for the next few months, they're going to come in and renovate the current building that we're in. And so we'll double the size of our building. We'll be at 120,000 square feet. It's a net zero building, which is, don't ask me to explain what net zero is, other than it's very good for the environment as opposed to a non-net zero building.
Fair.
But so it's a very
That's really exciting.
It is, yeah.
This is really, really exciting.
And I got to thank the city because they declared a climate emergency, and then when they were designing this building, they came to us and said, "Well, have you thought about making this building environmentally friendly?" And that's what it's going to be. And it's a great place for people to work out of. There's quiet rooms that are in this building. There's a nice gym where our officers and staff can stay physically fit, and it helps with their mental well-being as well.
One of the things that we were chatting about during our time on this committee, and I was asking, one of the guys asking you questions was about AI. Obviously, we've all begun to dabble on ChatGPT and go, what is this? It's more than just making myself look like the Cookie Monster or something like that. How does policing and AI meld in the world we live in right now?
Yeah, that's something that I'm extremely interested in right now, and I spent a lot of time looking at how AI is going to impact us. And you said you're dabbling in that as well. Well, so are criminals, right? They're starting to dabble into how does AI benefit them?
Their toe into
exactly.
This world.
And so we really need to be nimble and be able to use AI to our advantage. And so right now we're working on some really amazing products that are going to actually help our officers in the long run. One that we're working on right now is the ability to translate in real time from their body cameras into different languages. So if the officer encounters somebody that speaks a different language, their body camera using artificial intelligence will recognize that and translate it in real time.
Since you told me about that a few months ago, I've told so many people that, and everyone goes, "Why didn't we think of this before?"
It's amazing technology, right? And we have automatic license plate readers now in our vehicles, and so when a stolen vehicle or a suspended driver or a wanted person happens to be driving down the road with an officer, we get immediately notified that this is happening. But probably one of the most interesting things that we're doing right now is we're building a real-time operations center in our new headquarters, and it's going to utilize artificial intelligence to help us better manage our calls as they come in. We have over 50,000 incidents that we investigate, but many more calls for service come in as well. And some of those calls can be handled through artificial intelligence. They don't need a police officer to go and deal with them. And the ability to use artificial intelligence to our advantage is going to be an amazing tool. We're going to be to the point, David, not that far down the future, where there'll be a drone flying over our city, responding to calls before officers can get there to show us what's going on.
Now it's interesting because I see from your angle, you're like, my goodness, this is going to really help. And now some would go, Big Brother's looking at me at all time. But when I see the excitement in you. What about that do you go, yes, this is so important? Like, what does that actually mean for real people in our community?
I think it just means you're going to get a better service from us. Because again, we're a service provider, and we want to make sure that when you call the police because something is important, you get a quick response and you get a thorough response. And sometimes it's hard to do. Sometimes our officers come to work, they log on, and it's just pages of calls that are waiting. And so sometimes it's difficult to give real quality service for each one. And so we're trying to make sure that we're responding to the appropriate calls. There's things that other agencies, such as bylaw, can be responding to instead of the police. And so that, when you call, you don't have to wait a very long period of time. Now, I am very happy to say if you call 911 for an emergency, you're not waiting a long time. Our response times are very good. But if it's not an emergency, sometimes there's a long wait, and we want to really cut that down.
I remember when initially body cams they came out, and all kinds of different debate about it. But one of the things that has always struck me is that there were so many fantastic police officers that people make silly comments about all kinds of silly things all the time, and it's like instant accountability, but also proof text to be able to go, we did things well and right. I know that you guys have a board, just like everybody else, and there's accountability on body cams and in board. Talk about, maybe just for people, what are the different levels of accountability that you, not just as police chief, but as your staff have and are submitted to?
Yeah, so I guess I'll start with police officers, but we have constant supervision. So we have sergeants and staff sergeants that are working every shift, monitoring our officers' reports, monitoring our officers' activities, monitoring their calls for service, and we have a very robust quality assurance branch. So like every police service in Ontario, we fall under the Community Safety and Policing Act, which governs discipline and appropriate conduct of police officers. And so they fall, and myself as well, we all fall under that act. And you mentioned it as well, that we do have a board. And so, as the chief,
we all have boards. We all have people that we have to answer to.
Yeah, people think that as the chief, I have ultimate say over everything, and that's really not the case. I report monthly to the Police Services Board, and the Police Service Board, it's made up of 5 members of our community, and again, they come from all walks of life, and their purpose is that they represent and speak for the community. And so they work with myself and the deputies to set the goals for the service and the priorities for the service, and they provide oversight for the service as well. So, we report our budget to them every month. If we're over or if we're under, we present any major issues or challenges that we're facing, go to our board.
One of the things that really stuck out for me in my year on this committee was just how the staffing breaks down inside our police services, because it's not all officers on the street. What's the breakdown of people who are plain clothes and people who are not? Because it's really interesting.
Yeah, it is. So I won't tell you the exact numbers of everybody, but I'll tell you some of the sections that we have. So obviously, the backbone of policing is frontline policing. When somebody calls 911, they want an officer in uniform to come there quickly, and so we have a lot of focus on our front line right now. But we're a completely self-sufficient police service. We have a major crime unit, we have a child abuse and sexual assault unit, we have fraud units, we have drug and firearms enforcement units, intelligence, and of course, very important as well, we have community service units. And one of the things that I'm extremely happy about is we have a high school resource officer program. We have 2 officers that are dedicated full-time in the high schools. And, you take away those layers, we also have several civilian layers as well. So we have special constables that can help handle calls for service. They help with prisoner transportation and court security. And then we have a very robust civilian side of the house as well, that everything from looking after our facility to our records management to finance to human resources. We literally have everything that we need in those walls.
Not to mention the people that work the front desk.
Yes.
I mean, the lobby of a police station, these are usually people who are having a bad day.
Yeah.
Who walk in. And watching sometimes just being in there, the de-escalation that even the front staff is able to do is fantastic.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? A lot of times when people are dealing with police, it's at the worst imaginable times in their life. And often it's not personal, they're just very upset. And when you come into a police station, you will see people that are upset, and you'll see other people that are very happy because different things are occurring. But that was one of the things that we really wanted to focus on in our new building, is we wanted rooms like our community room where different groups can come in and use the police station for whatever event they're hosting, as opposed to just coming into the police station because they're having a really bad day.
Not everything has to
report a car
be the
accident.
bad day. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Just about another minute. When you meet somebody, you're out of the restaurant and they go, "Hey, you're a police chief. Interesting. How do you describe your job in like a minute?" And go, "Well, this is what I do." Like, why do you do what you do? Why is how do you describe it?
That's a good question. Often I don't actually get approached too often in restaurants.
Well, we'll role play here.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, my job at the end of the day, if I break it down to the simplest terms, is my job is to listen to what our employees and our members need and to listen what the community wants and to try to kind of melt those together into a plan for our service is essentially what it comes down to. And some days are more exciting than others. There's a lot of days spent looking at budgets and spreadsheets and the non-exciting stuff.
Look at that. Our police chief has the same problems as we all do. Chief Saunders, thanks so much for being here. Really appreciate your time and appreciate all the great work you do inside of our community.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you very much.
And thank you so much for joining me on About Brant. This is why we have this show, to be able to tell the stories, to be able to help us understand how this community works and who the people are in the middle of it. Hope you'll join us again next time as we have more great people and more great stories. See you next time. Bye-bye.
Connect with us by visiting our website or email us at comments@rogerstv.com.
The regulars, the guys who keep this place in business. Last week, they had something to celebrate. Jason had just finished university, so they toasted his profs, his TAs, his old roommates. Well, they toasted just about everyone. But I worry about and take care of my guys. So even when I know they're not driving, sometimes that means bringing them a little surprise. And then they had a drink to me.
Brought to you by Smart Serve Ontario and Arrive Alive, Drive Sober.
We were born in Canada. We spoke English. On the streets, we weren't welcome. But on the field, we were the Asahi. Vancouver's champions. Everyone cheered for us. Our people had a voice. Then Canada declared war on Japan. They took us from our homes, called us enemies, forced us into camps.